As Amanda was arranging the cushions on the couch in the living room, she heard laughter coming from the kitchen, and it made her blood boil. She felt like walking in there and saying something, but she knew it wouldn't matter. Nothing would change. This happened every single day. Amanda would make coffee, breakfast, lunch, everything. And just when it was time to make dinner rolls or bread, her sister-in-law Olivia would show up and say, "Amanda, you've been working since morning. I'll take care of the rest." Even when Amanda said no, Olivia would force her to leave the kitchen. Once Olivia started cooking, Amanda's husband David would immediately walk into the kitchen to help her. Amanda, with nothing left to do there, would quietly leave and continue with the rest of the housework. But while working, she'd overhear David and Olivia giggling and joking in ways that were clearly not appropriate, and that made her furious. Amanda couldn't stand Olivia. She often thought, sure, David is her brother-in-law, but now he's my husband. Isn't it wrong for a woman to act like that with someone else's husband? But every time Amanda tried to talk to David about it, he would flip the conversation around and blame her. He'd say things like, "You're being paranoid. Your thinking is so toxic. You're always suspicious for no reason." Amanda and David had been married for 3 years. And during those 3 years, they had argued many times, always because of Olivia. But each time, David made Amanda feel like she was the problem. He'd call her narrow-minded, overly sensitive, or negative. Olivia lived just a short drive away, and she came over often. Her husband, David's older brother, worked in San Francisco, and Olivia stayed with her parents along with her 2 kids. That meant she didn't have many responsibilities, and every week or two, she would spend a few days at Amanda's place. For Amanda, those few days always felt like a nightmare. Once Olivia left, Amanda would finally feel peace again. Her relationship with David would start to feel normal, at least until the next time Olivia showed up. And when she did, it felt like she took control of the whole house. That really got to Amanda. Olivia would even rearrange the kitchen drawers without asking. Sometimes, without Amanda even knowing, David would ask Olivia to cook his favorite meals. And by the time Amanda got to the kitchen, Olivia was already cooking. Amanda didn't even know what was going on in her own kitchen anymore. She started to feel like a stranger in her own home. After making dinner, Olivia went to take a shower. Amanda went to her room. But a little while later, when she stepped out, she saw David coming out of Olivia's room. Amanda stopped him and asked, "Didn't she go to take a shower? Has she finished already?" David said, "No, she's still in there." Amanda looked him straight in the eye and asked, "Then what were you doing in her room?" "She needed a towel, so I brought her one," he replied. That pushed Amanda over the edge. If she needed a towel, she could have told me. "Why did you go in there?" Instead of answering, David snapped back, "Here we go again. Your jealousy is out of control. I can't believe I'm married to someone so narrow-minded. Try to be more open-minded for once." He stormed off into another room, leaving Amanda standing there with tears in her eyes. The next morning, David told her that Olivia would be leaving that day and that he'd drop her off on his way to work. Amanda finally felt some relief. Since Olivia had arrived, David had been glued to her side and hadn't even gone at work for the past 4 days. Now that Olivia had finally left, Amanda knew she could enjoy at least 10 to 12 days of peace, and maybe David would actually pay her some attention. The moment he walked out the door with Olivia, Amanda let out a deep sigh of relief. She made herself a cup of coffee and sank into the couch in the living room, sipping slowly. Whenever Olivia came over, Amanda felt weighed down. She tried to ignore it all, really she did, but it was impossible. The way David and Olivia acted around each other made her feel invisible. Whenever they sat together watching TV, David would always choose the seat next to Olivia. During meals, Olivia made sure she sat right by him. As long as Olivia was in the house, Amanda felt like her husband wasn't hers anymore. Even at night, David would stay up chatting with Olivia while Amanda waited in bed, eventually falling asleep alone. She didn't even know when he finally came to bed. It had started eating at her. When they went out to the movies, David would always sit between her and Olivia, laughing and joking with Olivia through the entire film. In those moments, Amanda felt painfully alone, even with her husband sitting right beside her. All of this had left Amanda emotionally drained. She was still lost in thought when the ring of her phone brought her back to the moment. "Hello?" Amanda answered. "Hey Amanda, it's Andy. Is everything okay?" David didn't come into work today, and there was an important meeting scheduled. His phone rings, but he's not answering. Just wanted to check in, everything all right? Amanda could hear the concern in Andy's voice. He worked at the same company as David, and the two were good friends. He didn't go to the office? Amanda asked, surprised. But he left around 10 this morning. Nope, Andy replied. He never showed up. And he's not picking up his phone either. With that, Andy ended the call. Now Amanda was really starting to worry. It was already 2 p.m. and David hadn't gone to work? Then where had he gone? She tried calling him, but he didn't answer. Her worry grew. She called Olivia. No answer. Growing more anxious, Amanda called Olivia's parents' house, only to learn that Olivia still hadn't arrived home. That made no sense. She'd left hours ago. Why hadn't she reached by now? Amanda's mind spiraled. What if something had happened? An accident? Her heart started pounding. Her thoughts raced until finally, at 4 p.m., David called. Still shaken, Amanda asked sharply, "Where are you? Why didn't you go to work? I've been calling all day, why didn't you answer?" David's answer made her blood boil. He said, "I went to drop Olivia off at the bus station, but on the way we saw a poster for a new movie. Olivia said she wanted to watch it, so we hung out at the mall until the 12:30 show. After that, we watched the film. It was loud, so I didn't hear my phone. And later, when Olivia got on the bus, I saw all the missed calls." Amanda didn't even let him finish. She slammed the phone down in anger. Today, she knew the truth only because of Andy's call. Otherwise, David would have come home at 6 like nothing happened, pretending he'd just returned from the office. And who knows how many times he had done that before. She had no way of knowing. David had lied. And maybe he really had just gone to a movie, but once you catch someone lying, it's hard to trust them again. Every word starts to feel like a lie. David realized Amanda was truly hurt this time, and she wasn't going to just get over it. So he started acting differently. He was suddenly helpful around the house, doing his chores on time, picking up groceries and supplies without being asked. But Amanda never reacted, no smiles, no anger, nothing. She had become completely indifferent to David. She did her chores, kept the house running, but only spoke to him when it was absolutely necessary. David felt uncomfortable. If Amanda had argued or yelled, he could have shouted back and moved on. But now, her silence hit harder than words. David had finally begun to realize how deeply he'd messed up. He tried talking to her a few times, tried to explain himself, but Amanda didn't respond. She simply ignored him, like he wasn't even there. About 10 or 12 days later, David heard the sound of someone moving in next door. Curious, he opened the door and saw people unloading boxes into the apartment across the hall. That place had been empty for weeks. David thought, nice. If it's a family, Amanda might make a new friend. She hardly ever goes out or meets anyone. Since it was time to head to work, he shut the door and went to get ready, assuming Amanda would naturally meet the new neighbors soon. That evening, when David got back from work, the apartment door across the hall was shut. He asked Amanda about it and learned it wasn't a family at all. It was a young guy who had just moved in alone after landing a job in the city. David felt a bit disappointed. A family would have been better, he thought. At least Amanda would have someone to talk to. But a guy living alone? That didn't make much of a difference to him. The next morning, David stepped out of the bedroom after hearing Amanda's voice. She was talking to the new neighbor, who was asking about a cleaner or housekeeper. Amanda had sent the lady who helped at their place over to him. A short while later, the guy came by with a jug, asking for drinking water. By the time David left for work, the young man, whose name was Nathan, had already dropped by 4 or 5 times asking for help. David didn't like it. He gave Nathan a cold, disapproving look. The guy was tall, polite, and well-groomed. David couldn't explain it, but something about him rubbed him the wrong way. That evening, Amanda made coffee and invited Nathan over. The 3 of them sat together, sipping and chatting. David had to admit, Nathan seemed like a decent guy. His parents, grandma, and younger sister lived in a small town nearby. After a bit of small talk, Nathan left. Over the next few days, Nathan settled in completely. During that time, Amanda helped him out a lot, offering advice, helping him get things organized, even showing him where to buy basic home items. One day, David came home and found both Amanda and Nathan gone. Nathan's apartment was locked too. Later, they returned together. Amanda had gone with Nathan to pick up kitchen supplies. From that day on, she began going shopping with him more regularly. Nathan even came over for dinner once or twice. And every time he did, it made David burn with jealousy. One evening, David snapped. "Why do you keep going to the store with Nathan? Can't his mom come help him set up?" Amanda calmly replied, "His grandmother's sick and his little sister has exams. His mom can't leave right now." That answer made David furious, but he couldn't say anything. Amanda had caught him lying about that movie date with Olivia, and that guilt still lingered. It's strange how men think. They believe they can get away with anything, but the moment their wife shares a laugh with another man, their world flips upside down. No matter how much it bothered David, there was no denying that Amanda's life had become brighter since Nathan came along. They'd started doing little things together, cooking, organizing, laughing. The house didn't feel so heavy anymore. A few days later, Olivia showed up again. As usual, David found himself sticking close to her, hovering the way he always did. And like always, he assumed Amanda would notice and feel jealous, upset, maybe even hurt. But this time, Amanda didn't even look their way. She didn't care anymore. That day, Nathan also had the day off, so he spent the entire day with Amanda. When Olivia came into the kitchen to make dinner rolls, Amanda casually called out to Nathan. David noticed, and it felt strange to him. His attention was no longer on Olivia. Now, he couldn't stop watching Amanda and Nathan. That afternoon, Amanda had invited Nathan to stay for lunch. Once the food was ready, everyone sat down at the table. As usual, Olivia quickly rushed to sit in the chair next to David, but Amanda didn't even look their way. She smiled and sat beside Nathan without hesitation. Watching that made David fume inside. He completely lost his appetite. Later that evening, all 3 of them sat down to watch TV. David and Olivia were laughing, cracking jokes about the show. Olivia playfully tapped David's arm or leg every now and then. Amanda sat alone on the other couch. Then Nathan walked in and sat beside her. Soon, Amanda and Nathan started laughing and throwing out playful comments about what was on TV. Amanda was laughing freely, tapping Nathan on the shoulder and even his knee. Seeing the 2 of them so close made David feel like he was about to explode. He couldn't take it anymore. Without saying a word, he got up and walked off to bed. About 10 minutes later, Olivia followed, clearly annoyed. That night, Amanda deliberately stayed up late. As long as Nathan was around, she sat and joked with him, their laughter echoing through the house. David, pretending to sleep with a blanket over his face, could hear everything, and it made him burn with jealousy. When Amanda finally came to bed, she saw him lying still. She didn't say a word, didn't even look at him. She just turned away and went to sleep. The next day was another holiday. Olivia insisted they all go out to see a movie. David quietly went along with the plan, and at the last minute, told Amanda to get ready too. But Amanda wasn't going to just follow orders. She called Nathan and invited him to come with them. David was furious. In the bedroom, he asked, "Why did you have to invite Nathan?" Amanda answered calmly and confidently, "When you and Olivia sit together like you're on a date and I'm left sitting there like a third wheel, then either let me stay home, or let me bring someone who actually talks to me." David had no choice. He reluctantly agreed to take Nathan along. He figured he could still control the situation, seat Amanda first, then Olivia, then himself, and stick Nathan at the end. But Amanda had already checked the seating chart. When they got to the theater, she went straight to her seat, right next to Nathan. That left David and Olivia stuck on the far ends. Once again, David felt completely sidelined. The whole movie, he and Olivia barely spoke. It was Amanda and Nathan who laughed, whispered, and reacted to everything on screen. They were clearly having a great time. After the movie, Nathan offered to treat everyone to dinner. Amanda smiled and accepted without hesitation. They strolled around the mall for a bit, then grabbed dinner at a restaurant. David hardly said a word, only mumbling an occasional yeah or okay. Olivia, too, stayed quiet. The only voices filling the space were Amanda's and Nathan's, laughing and talking as if no one else was there. The next morning, Olivia went into the kitchen to make breakfast. Normally, David would have followed her in, but not today. He stayed close to Amanda the entire time. He knew if he left her alone, Nathan might show up. So he didn't leave her side, and Olivia had to make everything by herself. Olivia had come to the house mainly for David's attention, and now that he was no longer paying it, she began to question why she was even there. What was the point of hanging around when no one cared? So she decided to leave. She told David to drop her off on his way to work. When Amanda heard Olivia was leaving, she teased her with a smile. "Oh, come on, Olivia, why so soon? Stay a few more days, it's been so much fun going out. Nathan has a day off tomorrow, we could all hang out together." Hearing that made David squirm with jealousy. For the first time, he truly hated the idea of Olivia being in their home. Back when Olivia used to visit often, she was always glued to David. And in a strange way, that gave Amanda full freedom to spend time with Nathan. But now, everything had flipped. David barely called Olivia anymore, and even when she called, he'd talk for just a minute or two before hanging up. Olivia could sense the shift. David was now spending more and more time around Amanda. On weekends or holidays, while watching TV, he'd sit as close to Amanda as possible, holding her hand like he was afraid she might slip away. To keep Nathan away, David started taking Amanda out more, grabbing dinner, going shopping, finding random excuses to leave the house together. Amanda saw right through it, and it annoyed her. She knew he wasn't doing it out of love. He was just trying to keep her from Nathan. And the irony? For years, Amanda had begged David to take her out, just the two of them. To dinner. For a walk. Anywhere. But back then, he would brush her off saying, "Just the two of us?" Would have been more fun if someone else came along. And that someone else was always Olivia. Now that same David was suddenly eager to go places with her, planning new outings every day, fairs, movie nights, road trips. Watching him act so eager made Amanda laugh to herself. Men can be so selfish, she thought. So clever when it benefits them. Out of spite, she often avoided going anywhere with him. A couple of months went by. Amanda and Nathan still hung out. They talked more, laughed more, and their bond deepened. But one day, David had enough. He couldn't hold it in anymore. He finally confronted her. "Amanda, what exactly is going on between you and Nathan? Don't you think you're getting a little too close to him?" "Not at all, David," she replied calmly. "I'm just being friendly. We talk, we laugh. That's normal, isn't it?" "It doesn't feel normal anymore. You're getting too involved with him." "We hang out occasionally, that's all," Amanda said. "Occasionally? He's here almost every day. And whether it's dinner or TV time, he's always sitting right next to you," David snapped. Amanda raised an eyebrow. "So what? Is sitting together a crime now? People can be open-minded, David." She threw his own words about Olivia right back at him. David froze. For a second, he had no comeback. Then he said sharply, "Don't throw my words at me. This is different." "Oh, different? Because you're a man? So you get to do whatever you want, and I, because I'm a woman, have to just stay quiet and obey? Don't I have the sense to know what's right or wrong for myself?" Amanda's voice was calm, but firm. David tried again. "I'm just saying, I don't like this closeness between you and Nathan." Amanda shot back, "Why should I listen to you? Did you ever listen to me? I told you how much your behavior with Olivia hurt me. Again and again. But you never stopped flirting with her." "Okay, fine. I was wrong. I'll stop. But you have to keep your distance from Nathan now," David said, trying to bargain. Amanda shook her head in disbelief. "Wow, David. You're not giving up flirting because you realize it was wrong. You're only doing it now because you want to keep me away from Nathan. When I was all alone, you didn't care at all. You didn't change a thing. But the moment someone else stepped into my life, you suddenly want to drop everything and be better? That's not guilt, it's just your ego." David looked crushed, like a gambler who'd just lost everything. Amanda continued, "And you know what? If I do step back from Nathan, I know exactly what will happen. You'll go right back to the way you were. You're not really changing. You're just scared that I might find something real with someone else. That's why you're hovering around me. Not out of love. Just fear that something might grow between me and Nathan." "This is just your insecurity talking, David," Amanda said softly. "Today, you see yourself as weak and vulnerable. Nathan's only been around for 3 months, and already you're panicking, overwhelmed by jealousy and fear. And yet, you have no idea what I've been through for the past 2 years. The loneliness, the emotional pain, the hurt. You never even noticed. You've only ever thought about yourself." Her face showed a mix of anger, exhaustion, and sadness. "I'm so sorry, Amanda," David said, his voice cracking. "You're right. I treated you terribly. And now I understand how much it must have hurt you, the way I acted with Olivia. You always told me that cheating isn't just about sharing a bed with someone. It's the way you treat someone. The way you disrespect your partner in front of others. That's what breaks trust. And you were right. I'm really, truly sorry." His eyes welled up with tears, and his voice was filled with sincerity. Just then, Nathan walked into the house with a teasing smile and said, "Come on, sis. How much longer are you going to punish your poor husband?" David froze, stunned. "Yes, David," Nathan said, still smiling. "I'm Amanda's cousin, her younger brother, actually." David blinked in shock. "Wait, what? Amanda, what's going on? I don't understand." Amanda turned to him gently and said, "Nathan is my little brother. When we got married, he had just started his first job, so he couldn't make it to the wedding. You know his grandma, his little sister, and his parents, that's why none of them came to help him move. This is the same Nate who used to call me all the time. You even spoke to him on the phone a few times." David's jaw dropped slightly. "Oh my God. I did wonder why Nate suddenly stopped calling." Nathan laughed. "Because I was right here the whole time. The day I called Amanda, I could tell something was seriously wrong in her voice. So I asked her everything. She told me the truth. That's when I arranged to transfer my job here. And, yeah, I planned all of this." David looked down, deeply embarrassed. "I feel horrible. Really. Please forgive me. Both of you." Nathan grinned and said, "All right, we'll forgive you. But on one condition, you've got to take me to a movie tonight." David raised both hands in surrender and laughed. "Deal. I'll take you anywhere you want." Everyone burst into laughter, and the heavy air between them finally lifted. If you enjoyed this story, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more heartfelt and relatable stories. Thanks for watching.